So at the University of Bristol, we tried to condense it down to 4 main reasons. The first one was based on technology. So our old systems were really based on outdated platforms that weren't really supported anymore. And so they were really difficult to keep updated, and they kept falling over. So the amount of systems outage was really way too high. The functionality that our old systems had really wasn't up to scratch. So they weren't able to deal with the sort of the new norms that we've got in terms of dealing with multi-school, multi-partner kind of funding arrangements. And the data was really quite poor. We couldn't trust it. There was so much manual entry of the same data across at least 2, maybe 3 different systems. And there were issues with missing data, and the reporting that we were doing was really flawed with the quality of the data that we had. And then that led on to the 4th point, which was the reporting capacity and the reporting abilities. It used to take us weeks to be able to produce reports based on our applications and awards data, by which case it was then out of date. So the Worktribe systems really were able to really change that and have real-time information straight out of the front of the system, but also then the much more quality information coming out the back for our business intelligence kind of reporting environments.
Well, I have to say, I shall be repeating some of it, most of it, because for us it was very much the same. So when it comes to the technology, we were replacing the old costing and pricing system, which was the PFACT, and that system was supported only really managed by one person when it comes to the admin. So there was a single point of failure there as well. And we added research projects in it, but we were not costing the innovation. We used it, but we didn't record the innovation projects in it. So we used Excel spreadsheet, and as exactly like you said, when it came to reporting, innovation was even on a PDF. The other ones were from Excel, so it was really inconsistent. So there was a need for that part, but also for the approval. We did everything over emails. So again, there was no transparency, the accessibility. So it was really, there was a need for a system. And Worktribe certainly showed us that we can access the system, can see everything there. People can straight away see how many applications and awards there are in the system. So it has really helped everyone, and from the reporting point of view, and make decision making. So people can, I hope they can make decisions much faster than they could before. So really, it is the academics and everyone, academic and research staff, anyone who is applying for external funding, and all the administrative staff that supports the kind of a process, or the pre-award process of that. Within our institution, everybody who is applying for external funding have to ask for approval, for internal approvals, and therefore everyone should use the system, whether they like it or not. But within Kent, we have decided that academics will create the applications and we'll do the budget for them. So it is a little bit different because we've got still divisions and we've got central grants and contracts team. The central grants and contracts team would do the staff costs. Sometimes more than that, but usually they provide the divisions with the staff costs, and the divisions then support the academics with the other costs like travel, so on. So it's kind of, I always say, a collaborative way and supportive way. And I think how they feel about it, well, we ran a number of different feedback forms, and so far the feedback's been really positive. Of course, you will always find someone who doesn't want to use the system, but I think the system is quite intuitive. So people are really, the take-on was I'd say positive. I think it was a really steep curve planning when it came to the budget, creating the budget, especially for our grants and contracts team. We didn't give them enough time. We just said, okay, we're going live, let's just start using the system. Whereas with the divisions, we went gradually. So I think they did really well and they learned the budget part as well. So I think the take-up was really good, and overall the feedback's been really positive, especially about the approval process, I'd say, because we allocate the approvers in the groups and it's all automatic, transparent there. So I think people really like that.
So at the University of Bristol, similar to you, our biggest user base is definitely our project leads, our academic staff. Our academics are the ones who start all of our projects, and that has been the culture at the University of Bristol for probably about 15 years, if not longer, because that was the way that our previous system was set up as well. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a culture that actually the University of Bristol's academics really want to be the ones to be able to own and control and set up their costings from the start. They're supported in that by our costing specialists in my team in that pre-award space. So they will be advising on the costings, but they can absolutely be done by the academics themselves as well. And then, like you, the approval process, it's our heads of schools who are the key stakeholders there, approving every project that goes through the workflow would be seen by a head of school or their delegate in that approval pool. So that's the kind of the main users of the kind of the approval system, part of the system. We've then got lots of interested stakeholders, people who would like to see the data out of the systems in many ways. So we have other finance teams that are interested in things like the procurement side of what we've been buying on those or what we're planning to be buying on those projects. We've certainly got our research and enterprise and innovation division, who are really interested to see the kind of the research topics and themes that we're bidding for. And IT, HR, VAT teams, we've got a whole raft of people really interested in having a look at the data that we're managing on a case-by-case basis as to how best to let them see the system. So kind of going back to some of the comments that we made earlier, the ease of being able to put a budget together in Worktribe has really been important for us in Bristol. We went live at quite a difficult point. We went live in June 2020, and actually looking back now, I mean, there were challenges with going live at that particular point, but the functionality of the system really did help to have that online platform in a really clear workflow environment and capturing comments that weren't in emails, weren't in separate kind of systems. So having everything in one place was really helpful for us. The funder templates being able to mean that we didn't have to do everything on Excel spreadsheets and could be set up once and be used for multiple funding calls was really a big change for us and saved a huge amount of time. And then slightly later, so we didn't have this in place for when we first went live, but shortly after go live, we did manage to put an integration in place between the Worktribe pre-award team, pre-award module, and our existing post-award system in Aggresso, which meant that saved a huge amount of our time in setting up manual budget codes, uploading budgets, and all of the key information. So that was a really big improvement from our point of view in terms of accuracy of data and making sure that it actually saved our teams quite a lot of work in setting all of those things up manually. Yeah,
and I have to agree, integration, it's one thing which is really important, and our technical team did say that the APIs are really, and the documentations developed by our Worktribe has been developed really well, and therefore we could do that. So for us as well, the accessibility and transparency, people can see their projects, they can monitor what they've done, they can use it for their promotions, activities, and so on. The integrations, yes, again, we've got integration with HR, also the single sign-on, which is not a specific integration, but it helps people, and also with the post-award. And the post-award, again, once the project is live, some data goes in straight into UBW, which really makes life easier for staff, and it's there, and they don't have to worry about that. It is the thing about accuracy as well, because we can enter the data only once and reuse it often, but also we notice various different things. So sometimes there could be a mistake in an HR database, which I notice in the Worktribe, so I'll let them know. So it's it brought different teams together as well when it comes to a collaboration, almost like a partnership, really. So yeah, I'd say transparency, accessibility, accuracy, and reuse data as much as one can, so that we don't have to retype everything again. So we've got just the pre-award at the moment, and we are almost there with the contracts. But when it comes to pre-award, our decision not to import legacy data, I think, was the right decision, because we had the time and energy for other aspects which we could concentrate on. But what we did with all the awarded applications on that year, we have added them retrospectively, and that kind of helped researchers to see the whole product within the system straight away. So that was one thing, and also I think integration definitely with HR system, it's one of the key. It really helps. It helps you with time and effort. What we also have, we get automatic emails now from our HR system, and every time they change their org unit or something, so we then know that we have to change it also automatically in our system. So that really worked really well. We've got already pre-award, but perhaps we should have gone with the pre and post awards straight away as a package. Not releasing it, not rolling out straight away to the academics and university-wide, perhaps, taking our time. But I think it would have, even the documentation comes as a pre and post award, and I think that would have probably been a better decision. But we are where we are, and there is room for that next time.
And so from the University of Bristol point of view, there's a few things, I suppose, are our takeaways. Totally agree with you in terms of the data that we migrated into the system. So we chose to migrate a high level of information of all of our legacy costings. So we did migrate some very high level information of about 30,000 project records, which in hindsight was not a great idea. And I would say there isn't any benefits to migrating that information in. It is of limited value, and you can save that somewhere else. It doesn't have to be in the system. So we certainly, I think if we were doing things again, would really limit any sort of data migration that we did. It would have saved a lot of time on the project as well. The other functionality that we've used that many other sites I don't think have is that we can cost our projects at different levels of our org hierarchy. So we choose to cost at 2, but potentially we could cost at up to 5 levels we have at the University of Bristol. And that really helps to just have the flexibility around whether we're costing at our school level or our department level. We've got some really large schools that actually having the ability to cost at a sub-school level is really helpful for us to be able to differentiate between which areas of those enormous schools that can be larger than a whole faculty, so that we've got a bit more granular detail of what's going on in those areas. And the last thing is, the system really is easy to use. Our academics are very happy to be the ones who are creating those projects in the first place, taking ownership over, populating the budgets. And so, getting the data in the system as accurate as we can the first time round is really important. And there's nobody who really understands the projects better than those project leads who are going to be running the projects. So getting them to have a really good first stab at entering all of the information has really helped us to make things streamlined, getting all of the information that we then need to be able to pick up and and look at the follow-on kind of questions. So the system is really usable, and I think that benefits then everybody who's supporting those bids.